My name is Maya, and I am a 33-year-old housewife. My husband is Liam, who's the same age as me, and we have a 5-year-old daughter named Emma. We got married when we were 24 years old. We joined the same company at the same time, and after getting along well there, we dated for 2 years. I became pregnant with Emma when I was 27 years old and left my job. Liam also said he was going to start a business, and he quit his job a year later. The truth is, I didn't want him to quit because it was going to cost a lot of money to raise a child, but Liam never listens to other people's opinions. Even this time, it was too late. That's because one night he suddenly said, "I quit my job." Sometimes our monthly income would drop to less than $1,000, and it wasn't easy to get the business on track. Liam, who didn't even care about that situation, used my savings, which I saved even before I met him. As a result, we were in a state of extreme poverty. I had to ask Liam, who mainly works at home, to take care of Emma, and I had no choice but to work as a clerk at a nearby company. Liam has a pretty careless personality, so I sometimes felt anxious. But he said he would also take and pick up Emma, who started kindergarten. I forced myself to convince myself that couples like us are acceptable. However, after Emma entered kindergarten, Liam's behavior started to become suspicious, bit by bit. Liam wouldn't let go of his smartphone and frequently sent texts. He would also read those messages and giggle, showing classic signs of having an affair. And sometimes he would go out and leave Emma. As a result, there was a time when Emma fell down the stairs and broke a bone. "Why did you leave Emma and go out? What would have happened if she hit her head badly?" "If that happens, then we could just have another kid. Stop nagging me." Upon hearing these words, I was shocked. While I was taken aback by what he said, Liam said to me, "Oh, but I don't want to do it with you," he said, laughing. I felt strongly that not only is Liam definitely cheating, but he has completely abandoned both Emma and I. The shock was too great that I couldn't even cry. After that, Liam began to stay out without worrying about us. Moreover, I received a creepy phone call from a woman who was only laughing on the other end of the phone, and who I believe is his lover. Why doesn't he just say clearly that he wants to divorce? Because to him, I am just a money tree. Thinking like this, there are nights when I couldn't sleep out of frustration. I wanted to divorce him in any way that would be advantageous to me, but Liam's room was locked whenever he was out, so I couldn't find any evidence or information about his lover, and I was getting annoyed by that. However, the day when I could understand everything came, and it was all so sudden. One late evening, I received a phone call. It was from the police, informing me that my husband has been in a car accident. Apparently, Liam was in a rented car with a woman when they were in an accident. He had told me he was on a business trip. But with a woman? He was lying and seeing his lover. I felt like I was going to go crazy with all this anger I had. But first, I contacted my parents for them to look after Emma, and headed for the hospital where my husband had been taken. "Excuse me, I received a call from the police just now." When I asked at the emergency department reception, they told me that his life was not in danger. Hearing this, I found myself relieved. Why was I relieved for a man who cheated on me? How awful. With those thoughts in mind, I went to his hospital room, where I encountered the attending physician. "Fortunately, it appears there are no brain injuries. However, there is a possibility of him having after effects. Seems the impact was severe, with multiple fractures and bruises." This was what I was told. "Thank you, I got it. And the woman who was in the car with him?" I tried to ask, but they did not tell me clearly. I heard that she had severe facial injuries because she wasn't wearing a seatbelt, as well as a strong impact to her neck. Hearing that sent shivers down my spine, but I found myself whispering, "This is karma," in my heart. The hospital room was shared by my husband and the woman who seemed to be his lover, both sleeping side by side. Usually the rooms are separated by gender, but I was told by the nurse that they were put together because there was no other room available. In that case, the woman who was with Liam in the car must be the woman sleeping next to him in the hospital. Before checking on my husband, I took a good look at the woman's face. This face... Wait, the forehead is covered with bandages, but the distinctive large mole and plump lips. Is she that teacher from the kindergarten where my daughter goes to? She's definitely Sophia. The next thing I knew, I was yelling. What is this all about? Liam woke up to the sound of my voice and looked at me, who was glaring at him in a panic. I thought it was strange when you, who has always been bad with mornings, suddenly decided to wake up early and take our daughter to kindergarten from 2 years ago. But I never thought you were seeing the kindergarten teacher, Emma's teacher, of all people.
Well, it was in the spur of the moment kind of thing. She was young and pretty.
Perhaps Liam was different from his usual self, because he had probably been told by the doctor that he could have the after effects. Looking at Liam, explaining himself in a voice so small that it was barely audible, I felt that he really was a pathetic man. And at that moment, the tiny bit of affection I had for him that had remained completely disappeared. Staring into Liam's eyes, I said, "Here, sign this. I've made up my mind," and presented him with divorce papers. Liam's face turned pale as he pleaded desperately.
"I will never do this again. Wait, just wait. I regret it, so..."
"What?"
"Please take care of me, I beg you."
"Why should I?"
"What do you mean, why should I? Are you okay with abandoning me like this? I'm told I might be paralyzed and live in a wheelchair from now on."
"And?"
"You've been living comfortably on my income all this time, but you're such a cold woman."
"Don't make me laugh. Comfortable? We were barely managing a decent life because I was working, because of your unstable income. Remember the times when you only made $500 or $1,000 a month?" My husband bit his lip in frustration. I looked over at his lover. She had apparently been screaming in pain when she was brought to the hospital, and was now completely asleep, possibly due to the heavy anesthetic, despite the commotion. "She seems fine. At least her limbs are okay. Why don't you two live together by literally having a pity party?" Huh. I spat out those words and left the hospital room. What should I do now? First, I need to report to my in-laws. Then there's child support, alimony, and property division to consider. And what about her, Sophia? Should I start by contacting Sophia's parents? With these thoughts, I arrived at my parents' house and reported the incident to them. Both of them were furious, but they told me that Emma would stay with them, and that I should come back to my parents' house right away. Since my parents' house is only about 30 minutes away by car, it would probably be best to transfer Emma to another kindergarten, thinking about the future. The next day, I went to the kindergarten to report that Emma will no longer be going to that kindergarten, and to take care of the official paperwork. When I got there, the kindergarten was causing a stir because they couldn't get a hold of Sophia. At the moment when I tried to leave the kindergarten after completing the paperwork, ignoring the commotion, the mother of Emma's close friend came to talk to me.
"It's unusual to see you when I always see your husband around here most of the time."
When I told her about the accident and his hospitalization, she responded,
"That's terrible. I'm going to visit him in the hospital and my husband will come too."
That's right. Her husband's job is in the same industry as Liam's, and he was good friends with him too. At that moment, an idea popped into my head, and just as I thought, things progressed. I urged my friend to go visit as soon as possible, and she and her husband did so on the following Saturday. That was when my husband Liam and Sophia were still in the same room. Of course, I had informed her in advance that the passenger who was with Liam was also hospitalized in the same room. I didn't tell her who it was, though. "What's going on? Why is Mrs. Sophia here?" After leaving the hospital room, she called me immediately. Then I revealed that they had secretly gone out for a nighttime drive date, and that their affair seemed to have started around 2 years ago. I've decided to get a divorce and return to my parents' home, so we're going to move Emma's kindergarten to a different one. It's sad to part ways with a wonderful mom friend like you. Like this, I complimented her. She loves to gossip, so she'll probably spread the news throughout the whole kindergarten by Monday. The next day, which was a Sunday, I visited the hospital again. That's because I had to receive the divorce papers from my husband. As for Liam, not only did he not sign the divorce papers, but he also begged me desperately for forgiveness. He almost tried to beg on his knees, saying,
"Please forgive me. I swear I'll never do such a thing again. I will become a good husband and a good father from now on, so please save me. You're the only one I have."
Sophia, who had woken up next to him, shouted, "If our affair is discovered, I won't be able to stay at the kindergarten. Look at these scars on my face. I'm in trouble if you don't marry me. This isn't a joke." In response to this, Liam was being extremely cold. Unbelievable.
I'm sorry, but I can't live with a woman like you. After all, your face is no longer something I can look at.
How can you say that? It's your terrible driving that caused this, isn't it?
That's your fault. You kept touching me in weird places.
You were the one who told me to touch you. I see. I understood the reason for the car accident. I couldn't help but smirk. I spoke kindly to Liam right after their argument has settled down. I understand your feelings, but now that things have turned out this way, I think it's best to first settle our relationship. We can look for ways to start over after getting divorced. Upon hearing that, Liam seemed to lighten up a little.
So, you'll continue to take care of me?
Yes, but I also want to clear things up first, so I want to get a divorce as a consequence of your affair. I want to settle things properly, like alimony, child support, and property division. Liam seemed to understand after hearing this explanation. He happily and smoothly signed the divorce papers I handed him and the contract stating that he would pay a total of $105,000 in a lump sum for alimony, child support, and property division. He signed it without even reading the content of the contract. Leaving the hospital, I went and submitted the divorce papers. I received a call from Liam a week later.
Hey, you said you'd take care of me, but you haven't come to see me once since then.
I was just thinking that we need to discuss something. I made sure to respond in a way that left him guessing.
What do you mean? Discuss what?
The issue of how much the payment will be.
What?
I carefully explained to Liam, who seemed confused. Assistance and hospital accompaniment services usually cost about $30 per hour, so if we calculate for 2 hours per day, 10 days a month, it comes to $600. The transportation fee will be separate, $15 per round trip. So the total would be $750, which I would like to receive in advance.
What? What are you saying? Hey, are you charging me?
We're strangers now, so it's only natural. I need to get my income properly. When I finished explaining, Liam shouted at me saying,
"You're the worst."
I understand Liam's feelings. His job requires on-site investigations, but with his current physical condition, he won't be able to do that for a while now. Furthermore, because there will be permanent scars on her face, it seems that Sophia is demanding $210,000 in compensation. On top of that, there will likely be a claim for the totaled rental car. Well, why don't you ask your parents for help from now on? Since we can't negotiate and come to a conclusion here. I left him with these words and hung up the phone. Liam has since been discharged from the hospital and seems to have returned to his parents' house. According to rumors, his parents, who are old now, can't really take care of him very well, and Liam has fallen out of his wheelchair many times, and now he's in his bed all day. As for Sophia, supposedly she voluntarily left her job at the kindergarten. She now stays home and sends angry calls and messages to Liam's parents every day. Even so, the only scars that remain seem to be on her forehead. But given her pride and her beauty, it must be a difficult wound to accept. Although I feel sorry for her, I demanded alimony from her too. Apparently, her parents paid the part she couldn't afford. They probably thought it was just a fling. However, what you do always finds its way to come back to you. It's called karma. From now on, I hope they live with their sins, considering that it was all karma and that they deserved what they got, even if it may seem unfair to them. I feel bad to have put all this burden and stresses on Emma. Fortunately, Emma quickly adapted to her new kindergarten, which was a relief. As for me, I have finally been able to calm down and work, and I am living a fulfilling life every day now.